I'd like to call the December 15th, 2025 City of LaPorte Common Council meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilwoman Ficus. Roll call. Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Councilman Frankie.
Here.
Councilwoman Huffman.
Here.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Present.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
Councilwoman Konechny.
Present.
Councilman Buchanan.
Here.
Councilwoman West.
Here.
All present.
Approval of December 1st, 2025 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Petitions and comments of citizens both online and in person. Appreciate everyone here. Merry Christmas. And it's great to have everybody here at the holiday. Charity, I would like to take a moment and say thank you for the downtown cookie walk. We appreciated it. Mark Hill had some extra cookies that he did take that he was willing to give back, that hopefully you'll be bringing those back. So thank you. It was a great success. Just to remind everybody, this is public comment, 3-minute limit. There are no personal attacks. It is not question and answer. And any other things I need to ask?
Only opportunity to speak tonight.
Yes, it is the only, as we said earlier, it is your only opportunity to speak on any type of public item. So with that, we will begin. Charity, come forward.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the cookie walk. I was a little bit concerned because of the weather, but we still had a great turnout. We did order a few extra tins, so we still have some if anybody wants to collect them. Come on into the hotspot, and I have a few left if you're interested in those. So yeah, we were only down about 10-15% from previous years, so I was very excited.
Excellent.
I think everybody enjoyed the snow and the weather were just kind of, I think, added benefit to me. I was like, yay, it's Christmas, right? So yeah, thank everybody who supported us and look forward to next year doing the same thing. If anybody is interested in caroling or something like that, let me know. We want to add to this event and make it something really spectacular. So thanks, everybody.
David Heinhold and Tucker King had mentioned caroling just 10 minutes ago, so thank you.
Like Tucker. Perfect.
All right, we'll call your name and address. Please come forward. Paul Skiat, regarding Briarleaf. Welcome.
Welcome to you as well. Good evening, council members. I've been to several meetings, planning, zoning, city council meeting with regard to item number 8 on the agenda. Here to speak more about the underlying concern, or let's just say interest that I have. Be hearing from some individuals about the housing development, which will involve 300 homes, round numbers. I would suggest to you that that community that's out there probably should be talking about more like 400 or 450 homes that are going to be added to Councilwoman West's ward. Next year, I want to start hearing about what the city is going to start talking about as far as improvements for that area. I will be sitting in that chair for every council meeting that I can possibly attend. I know that we are kind of out there in no man's land. We're up on 39. We're not in city proper, but we need to be considered part of the city if that's where the growth is going to be. So I just want to let you know that I expect to hear things about Ward number 1, what's going to be happening in there, and I would prefer not to hear about the effects of Senate Bill number 1. I would prefer to hear about how we're going to work with Senate Bill number 1 and make improvements in Ward number 1.
Thank you. And again, you have not and will not hear about Senate Bill 1. We're all about property tax reform. Just don't stop the city of LaPorte that's taking on our approach to growth, which is our number one thing that you heard from the city coming in. We think property tax reform is great, but keep the state, the feds out, and allow us to do what we need to do to supply the best services together for our residents. Jacob Hill, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Jake Hill. I live on 3584 North 100 West. I'm on the board of Ducks Unlimited, the Kankakee chapter. I would like to talk about the nearby wetlands affected by this housing development. One of the wetlands being right behind my house is Autumn Bog, located on the northeast corner of the development. Autumn Bog is a red maple / poison sumac forest bog community, which is rare in Indiana. It has plentiful, interesting plants and wildlife that inhabit it. To the honorable members of the Porte City Council, I am submitting this written comment for the public record regarding the proposed residential development currently under discussion. I respectfully request clarification and documentation on whether the developer has applied for or received all required state and federal environmental permits, including any IDEM regulated wetland permits pursuant to Indiana Code 13-18-22, and any U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permits under Section 404 of the Clean Water Act, if applicable. I also request confirmation as to whether formal wetland delineation and jurisdictional determinations have been completed. Additionally, I request that the city require the developer to clearly explain how drainage, stormwater runoff, and construction activities will be managed to prevent degradation of adjacent wetlands and neighboring properties, both during construction and after project completion. This should include long-term maintenance responsibilities and enforcement mechanisms. Given the permanent nature of this development and its potential impact on surrounding landowners, I respectfully ask that the city ensure wetland boundaries, buffers, and jurisdictional determinations are clearly identified and protected. Stormwater and drainage plans are reviewed for downstream and adjacent impacts. I appreciate the City Council's attention to these matters and respectfully request that these concerns to be entered into the public record and addressed prior to any votes or approvals related to this development. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Hill? I'm going to give a copy to Mr. Nelson, representing Lennar, and also to Jerry Jackson from wastewater, just so you have official. If you could give that to him. Thank you. Thanks. Ethan Kuntz, welcome. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Ethan Kuntz. Address is 3292 North 100 West, LaPorte, Indiana. So, to the honorable members of the LaPorte City Council, I am formally submitting this petition for the public record regarding the proposed or potential residential development of the Briarleaf Golf Course property. The petition contains over 500 signatures from residents and community members requesting that the city oppose residential development of the Briarleaf Golf Course and instead preserve the property as a green space for the benefit of the city of LaPorte. The petition reflects significant public interest and concern regarding land use, environmental impacts, neighborhood character, drainage, and long-term value maintaining green space within the city. In addition, the community members have voluntarily contributed nearly $500 to support this petition effort, reflecting broad and genuine public concern regarding this proposed development. I respectfully request that this petition be accepted by the City Council, entered into the official public record, and considered in any present or future discussions, votes, or approvals related to this property. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Questions? And to make sure this is official in the record, Mr. Otis?
Yeah, so it'll be reflected in the minutes that these were accepted by reviewed by the council.
And then anybody that has, or would like a copy or anything,
Each council member has a copy. Yep.
or from the public?
If the-
I have it in my office, so I can provide that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that fair?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Corrine Goodson, please come forward and welcome.
Thank you. My name is Corrine Goodson. I live at 3054 North Shamar Hills Drive, and I'm here also about the Briarleaf development. My husband and I attended the planning meeting, the zoning meeting. We went and toured some of the other Lennar subdivisions to get a feel for what was going in. This is off of our backyard. And I will show you, I don't have anything specifically for the record, but I do have photos to pass around. We bought our house when we got married 28 years ago, and our decision was literally made on the view from our back deck. To say that our housing value is not going to change is probably not. I can pass these around. Is not accurate. It's kind of awkward because I'm addressing some of the things that Lennar said in the former meeting, and I assume that they're going to say in their presentation to you. One of them is they compare Iron Gate in Valparaiso to the place they're building here in LaPorte. We toured it. The houses are bigger. Most of them have three-car garages. The lot sizes are bigger. So it's not apples and apples, it's apples and oranges. They also compared the home values to the homes that surround the subdivision in Valpo. And those homes were not on a golf course. So again, it's not a fair comparison. They didn't have a golf course there to begin with, it was farmland. And so you're, again, it's not a true comparison. Bert Cook, when he spoke at the planning meeting, said that the very worst thing that could happen is leaving land vacant. And why is that so bad? I don't understand why that's so bad. Prairies and woodlands are beautiful. Native prairies and woodlands draw people outdoors. And then there was a threat of something worse, like a data center or a CAFO or a slaughterhouse, if we don't accept the housing development. I think that's kind of insulting. I mean, I don't think that you people would let that happen. But also, I would like to point out that traffic is a big concern. I don't think that 300 North can handle the traffic. From our meetings earlier, we were told that the exit on 100 West was something they were hoping for and not a done deal, so that the only true entrances and exits right now are on 300 North and 39 North, or 300 West and 39 North. And 39 North right now with semis from the industry on the other side, and the toll road is not equipped to handle all that extra traffic. I mean, they projected in the meeting that it was like 1,500 cars a day or something. It was pretty crazy. So in closing, I would say we're not against the building of a subdivision. At the very least, they should build it with larger lot sizes and fewer homes, with more concern for preserving the beauty of the rolling hills, trees, and ponds. Green spaces are features of successful cities as well.
One question, just so I understand. This picture here is from your backyard, and Briarleaf, the
Yeah.
golf course, is up here?
Yep.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Pass those around.
Thank you. I believe that's everybody for public comment. Anybody online?
There was a comment that somebody must have deleted that cannot be repeated because of the language used.
The name?
I don't remember the name, I apologize.
Angela Darnell has one comment, vote no. Okay. Thank you for that. Standing committee reports, President Frankie.
Redevelopment Commission meets this Wednesday, 5:15 here in council chambers. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Huffman.
The Sustainability Commission met on Tuesday, I'm sorry, not December, yeah. But I have my date wrong for some reason, my apologies. We met last week. Firstly, I would like to welcome Mr. Dodd Dotson to the Sustainability Commission. Don will be a valuable asset to the commission as he is very focused on the preservation of our native landscapes and parks. He has already partnered with some local partnerships to establish a native pollinator garden. He also has an extensive background in horticulture. The commission currently has 2 matters they are focusing on: EV charging stations and tree planting. Tesla has been contacted regarding EV charging stations, and the tree planting will occur as soon as the ground thaws in the spring. The next Sustainability Commission meeting will be Tuesday, January 13th, 2025, in council chambers at 4 p.m.
Question on the charging stations. Were those specific to Teslas?
No, they were not specific to Tesla. That was just the first company that was the most accessible by our chair for the commission, reaching out just to get an idea, because the EV charging stations that we currently have were done under a grant before I became a council member. So we're just looking for other alternatives, trying to get price points, ideas of where to put them and how much it's going to cost.
I thought we've heard a lot for a lack of Tesla charging stations that the public has asked for, so that's why I'd asked. So
I think some of them have different different options.
Yeah, there's like lightning charging, regular charging, so I think
thank you. Councilwoman Ficus.
Park Board meets this Wednesday, 4 p.m. at the Park Office, and then Traffic Commission will have their next meeting on Tuesday, January 6th, 5 p.m. at the police station.
Councilman Galloway.
Mayor's Veterans, sorry, Police Merit Commission met on the 9th, and the approval of the minutes, and they had a one-day, all-day-long hiring at 17 people, and 10 passed the first phase of testing.
Excellent. Councilwoman West.
Nothing to report tonight.
Councilman Buchanan.
Historic Preservation Commission meets tomorrow, December 16th, 5:30 here in council chambers.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Airport Authority will meet Wednesday, January 14th at 5:15 at the airport.
And just as a reminder, for those that were at the concert at the Civic this past weekend, Ed and Karen Bowers, what an unbelievable gift that they donated a large sum of money in exchange for having the stage at the Civic named after them, and they've been committed to the park system. They love the park system, and so for future development, future repairs, everything, Ed and Karen Bowers have donated those funds. That'll be great for the many years to come for the future of the Civic Auditorium. So thank you to them. So we've seen many housing study presentations, both by Health Foundation of LaPorte and Unity Foundation. Beth Schrader is here. I would like to recognize Maggie Sparts, if she would stand. Thank you for your service as she has left Unity and enjoy retirement. Thank you for all you've done. And we now have an update to the housing study. So Beth, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Council members this evening. It's nice to see some faces that I remember and some new ones too. So my name's Beth Schrader, and I'm a planner with SEH, and we did an update to Unity Foundation's 2021 Housing Analysis and Action Plan. So they did that as part of their Vibrant LaPorte County program, and they pulled a whole lot of data. And it gave a snapshot of 2021, the data that was available at the time, what was going on, and what the recommendations were to have the most healthy and vibrant housing situation in LaPorte County. And so Unity Foundation, as part of their grant obligations to the Lilly Foundation, is updating that here in 25 with more recent data. So I'm going to share that with you. So in 2021, and I think there's a presentation that is, okay. So in 2021, some of the outcomes of that study still hold true. So just to give an overview of those things, there was a recognition of a housing supply shortage. At that time, there was,
Council members, if you want to come around or help yourself to.
yeah, so in 2021, they made an estimate of 5,700 new units by 2030. And that was based on goals that were set by local leaders, not necessarily on any sort of metrics or population statistics. We saw a mismatch between housing types and household needs. There were affordability challenges and hidden cost burdens. We saw socioeconomic and racial inequities, aging and underutilized housing inventory, inefficient land use and infrastructure costs, a challenge for development, and the need for a strategic housing policy and implementation. So all those things are still true. So some of the things that are driving changes since 2021 are a change in the household types. So between 1960 and 2020, 1 and 2 person households have grown significantly. So you see there, the 1 and 2 person are the yellow and blue lines, and those have increased while all the other household types have decreased. There's been a large increase, and in 2020 in LaPorte County, 1 person households made up 30% of all households. So this is a mismatch with a lot of the housing that we have currently in LaPorte County. Go to the next one. All right, and looking at broad trends on populations that affect the county, some of those are aging population, so people dying. We have lower fertility rates than earlier generations, and we are seeing outmigration in LaPorte County, where more people are moving out to live in other places. So with those trends, even though the population in LaPorte has been about the same, hovering at about 22,000 since the 1960s, reached a peak in 23, and what's projected to happen is a decrease in population over time. And with that, you have household projections. So a number of housing units will follow a similar trend. So we have a peak here, looking at current population projections, where we're at the highest number of households that we will have, assuming the status quo. So we're looking at decline is what the statistics are telling us. So is that what we want? Do we want this status quo, or do we want to grow? So that was a lot of the thinking with talking with Unity Foundation and the county, who collaborated on this study. What do we want the future to look like, and how can we make that happen? So the things that we are recommending, stimulate population growth, so targeted economic development, really promote LaPorte County's quality of life advantages, because there are a lot. Increase household formation. Now you do this by encouraging smaller households with diverse housing types. So making sure that you can build a wide range of housing types, which includes the smaller homes, townhomes, ADUs, senior-friendly units that are attractive to the smaller households. With that, you're modernizing your housing policy. Make sure that your zoning is allowing some of those mixed use and higher density developments, and that you are ready to permit zoning-wise and supply the infrastructure expansion to unlock housing-ready land. Investment in infrastructure, so sewer, water, broadband access to underutilized areas, especially places that have good links to a lot of the the job growth that's happening in nearby St. Joe County. And then retain and attract millennials, because that's where most of the household formation is happening right now. All right, so what would that look like if we are approaching housing policy and decision-making with a growth mindset? What you see here, the blue line is following the status quo, similar to the graphs that were before. And then instead of just looking at the goals of the leaders in the communities and projecting what the housing demands are from that, we took a little more nuanced approach where we're looking at similar communities, nearby counties and cities and towns that have characteristics in common with LaPorte, and looking at their growth rates, seeing what's achievable for LaPorte as a county, and applying that to the statistics to see where do we think is achievable to get. And so with that, we have two new lines that represent a maintained population scenario, which is the yellow orangish line, and then the green, which is the aspirational growth scenario. And those don't, that's not explosive growth. Neither of them are. So what those represent is a, so the orange line is a 0.02 to 0.1% growth yearly. So that in comparison with, for example, Valparaiso, which sees about 0.75 growth yearly, between that and 1%. The aspirational growth scenario is a little bit more, and that's 0.02 to 0.2% would get you to these numbers. So that seems to us like a more healthy goal to work towards. All right, so one of those things that, one of the metrics that we use to track whether we're keeping up with the growth that we want to see are housing permits. And this is something that is of interest to Unity, to Lilly, and other funders to show that there's progress being made at this. And so what we see is that LaPorte here in orange has lower building permits, and that's something that we'd like to see increased to help reach the goals to maintain or grow population instead of lose it. So just a look back since 21, some really cool, you can go to the next slide, some new development that's happened. So most of the land in city limits is already built out. And so most of the residential growth will be achieved through small-scale infill redevelopment, and that's on properties that were frequently another use, sometimes industrial, but all types of other uses. So projects like the Banks and Tidma Bakery site were both on former industrial sites. And this infill development is really terrific because it supports walkability. It's happening where we already have infrastructure, which is wonderful. And what you also need are projects like what's happening at Hunter Woods, which through annexation at the edge of the city, collaboration with utilities to make all that happen, but this larger scale residential development at the fringes, that's also important in order to get the kind of scale that you really need to meet your growth goals. So between LaPorte and Michigan City, most of the growth goals for the county as a whole will be met. That's where the utilities are, that's where the population is, that's where the most potential is for growth. So between the two, there's been a lot of movement, a lot of, really a lot of excitement. So Michigan City is looking at numerous different mixed-use and multifamily residential projects, a lot of density. They're seeing their first residential subdivision in like maybe 50 years. So that's huge for them. LaPorte too. We just looked at some of the new development that's happening. There's other things underway, but the goals are 900 plus for-sale units and 750 plus rentals over the next several years. So last I heard, the goal for LaPorte is to still reach 30,000 population by 2030. Yes, so that's still what we're working towards. So in order to reach all of these goals, we revisited the action items from the 2021 study, and most of them are still applicable. So they still make sense. There's one that was emphasized, changed So we have number one, which is adopt and implement a growth mindset. So that is about thinking about growth in all the decisions that you're making and making sure that you keep in mind what happens if you're not thinking about growth and maintaining that mindset. There were 5 others: build a spectrum of housing to unlock growth, establish a housing trust fund, support commercial centers with dense, walkable housing, manage growth at the edge, and continue the conversation. And that's what we're doing here today, continuing the conversation, revisiting these statistics from 2021, seeing what still is important. And I hope that this is a conversation that's ongoing because it will continue to be an important issue for LaPorte County and quality of life here in the city and the entire county. So with that, I'll take any questions from the council.
Questions for Beth? It's always good to have you back here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here. And I'll just mention that the full study is on the Unity Foundation website, so you can read the whole thing. There's a lot there to dive into, and if you have any questions, you can always email me. So,
And we'll also add that to the LaPorte website. We'd like that. Thank you. It's always good to have you
Terrific.
back here.
Beth, I do have a question, and I'm
Yes.
sorry if I missed it. You talked about the action items. I'll
Yes.
remain the same with the exception of one.
yes,
I think I missed the one.
the one is adopt and implement a growth mindset. So that's the slide that's up here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
I'm just going to add that for 30 years, LaPorte has chosen, minimum 30 years, LaPorte has chosen to not grow. This is a community I grew up in. This is a community that many of you grew up in. This is a community, I can look at Mark Hill, who I spent at his house, and we may differ on some of the things today, but I know he cares about LaPorte because he grew up here. Tucker King, Eric Nelson, Mike Riley, Mike Libator, Bill Nelson, people that care about LaPorte. And we hear every single day, we need housing, we need rentals, we need affordable, we need high-end. Yet we ignored for 20-some years the rentals that were going on, and it was okay because it didn't affect us, that just went across right here from the YMCA. And those apartments were people, we had U.S. Marshals, we had different people for 20 years. And Nick Otis, you grew up here, I apologize. That people, we allowed people to live in the type of circumstances that were across the street or throughout our downtown. And it's kind of unique that the list of opposing housing on this list are the same people that came to Lincoln School and said, don't close Lincoln School. We don't want new housing, but don't close Lincoln School. You can't have it both ways. We've been dropping, we've been lowering, and it's enough is enough. The standards have been set. We have builders coming in now from around Northwest Indiana that are testing the market. And the first thing they say is, and you've heard them, I've heard them, well, LaPorte always says no, so we don't want to build too many houses. We want to test. And if it wasn't for Mitch Ficus building homes, and how many homes has he built in 10 years? 142. But when we were going to bring and we brought Habitat to Humanity to take over a industrial site to build 5 homes, you saw the pushback. When we talk about and hear everybody talk about affordable housing to allow people to live, and we're getting all types of pushback on the area there next to Sacred Heart Church, the old Washington school that is falling apart, to build affordable housing. That's the difficulty, and I just want to say thank you to the council, because everywhere you turn to try to provide new housing or alternative housing, you're getting pushback publicly. Do what you're going to say about me publicly and social media. That's okay.
We do.
Thank you. That's good. But you are all trying to do the right thing to provide options so that people don't have to live with what they've lived in for the past 20 years. And again, Jeff Batchelor, code enforcement, has gone through, cleaned up a lot of houses. But anybody that doesn't want new housing, we welcome you to come to those rentals and see the things that we fight on a daily basis. It's time, it's needed of all types, and I'm appreciative of the housing builders that are coming and checking out LaPorte and saying, we want to give LaPorte a try because we believe in it. We believe there's an opportunity here to bring our kids back home or keep our kids here to provide them houses, because you've heard it all. Where do I go? You want me to stay here? Where do I live? We do have a couple of comments, public comments. I want to add to make sure for the record. Michael Spout said the entire administration sucks. Michael Spot, again, I've offered this individual to use his real name and meet with me in public. He's not chosen that option, which is of no surprise. And then Caitlin Daniels says, hi, Andy. You want to?
Mr. Alexander says, keep up the good work, Mayor. Yep.
And then
That's it. All the other ones.
those are it. So that is for the record.
One quick comment, just echo
Please.
your initial comments to thank Unity Foundation and the Health Foundation for these studies, because being on the Plan Commission and the City Council, having actual data to back things up and to make decisions by is hugely helpful, because, you know, we can speculate and listen to opinions and stuff, but I try to make decisions based on actual data and projections and stuff, so it's remarkably helpful, so thank you.
And I'll add to that with, you know, I understand the concerns from the residents, I do. Change is hard. You've had this beautiful golf course in your backyard or front yard for many years, but it's important also to understand that this is a private business decision. The city does not own the land. We can't just make it a green space. It's not our property. It's, you know, our job is to make sure if it is sold to a developer, that's done responsibly. And we want to strengthen our tax base, we want to strengthen our schools, we want to maintain city services. It's hard, but we need it. We need growth.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I know everyone's talking about growth, we need that, but it's like, what about like balanced growth too? I mean, I look at the people that are here tonight and the ones that came in front of Plan Commission and listened to everybody talk. I spoke to a few residents this weekend out there, and I don't know, it's important to reserve that green space and not have overdevelopment, but I also know as a councilwoman that the conversations we have, we need housing. So I understand a lot of the people that are upset about this. So that balanced growth is what's important too. It's just not growth at the expense of people who have beautiful homes out there and mature trees and everything. So I understand where they're coming from as well. So it's not like a decision that is made lightly.
And just to Ms. West's point, that's why Bert Cook, myself, others have met with the homeowners ahead of time, but also balanced growth is not, I think they said 0.1% growth, 0.1% of growth. We've been more than balanced in our community, and people are begging for housing. And 300 homes is just a small portion of 1,000 that they're saying. I doubt we'll get there. The apartments were never good. The banks was never going to rent to, it was always going to be Chicago people and not LaPorte people. I think we're at 90% LaPorte residents right now. People are in need of housing. We believe LaPorte is a great place. We believe this is a great community to raise your child. Microsoft believes in LaPorte. ESPN believes in LaPorte. They've come here. Somebody's got to stand up for our community, and it's a special place to keep our kids here, or again, to bring them back. And we're going to provide the best services, the best water people. Tim Warner in the state, Jerry Jackson, our wastewater, former state champion wrestler from our community, came back. I promise you, he could make 3 times the amount of money in the private sector, but chose to live here because he believes in LaPorte. So I just don't want you all to feel bad because you're trying to do what's right for your community. Introduction of an ordinance. Before, I guess we'll read the ordinance first. Council President Frankie.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance in its entirety for the first time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council President Frankie.
An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, as enacted August 21st, 2017, which is part of Chapter 82 of the Municipal Code of the City of LaPorte, by amending the official zone map that are a part of the zoning ordinance in order to rezone 2 parcels of real estate in the City of LaPorte. Whereas the parcels of real estate described below are now zoned under the zone maps as contained in the zoning ordinance of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, which is part of Chapter 82 of the Municipal Code of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, as being in use District R1B, Single Family Residential District. Whereas the City Plan Commission of the City of LaPorte has held a properly advertised public hearing to determine whether or not it will recommend to the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the parcel as described below be placed in a different use districts. And whereas the City Plan Commission at this public hearing considered this matter required to be considered by Indiana Code 36-7-4-603, and whereas it was the recommendation of the City Plan Commission and that the official zone map of the City of LaPorte should be amended so that the parcel as described above be rezoned by being placed in the zoning districts as described below. And whereas this ordinance would be an amendment to the zoning ordinance of the City of LaPorte as enacted August 21st, 2017, and which is part of Chapter 82 of the Municipal Code of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, and specifically an amendment to the official zone map of the city as included in Article 32 of the zoning ordinance of the City of LaPorte. Now therefore be it and is hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following described parcels of real estate situated in the City of LaPorte, County of LaPorte, and State of Indiana to wit. I will skip the legal description. Which are now located in the R1B Single Family Residential District, are hereby rezoned by being placed in the R1D Single Family Residential District, and which would be an amendment of the official zone map as contained within the 2017 City of LaPorte Revised Joint Zoning Ordinance as enacted on August 21st, 2017, which is part of Chapter 82 of the Municipal Code of the City of LaPorte, which ordinance was prepared and now approved by the LaPorte City Plan Commission, be enacted by the Common Council, which is now located in the R1B Single Family Residential District, is hereby rezoned, being placed in the R1D Single Family Residential District. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval by mayor, and publication as required by law and of ordinance.
So before Mr. Cook moves forward on this ordinance, our attorney, Nick Otis, will explain the process for this Briarleaf ordinance. Mr. Otis.
Thank you. There's a lot of people here tonight that have been, not only to this meeting, but other meetings regarding this project, and I just wanted to kind of explain procedurally the process in the city of LaPorte and kind of generally in the state of Indiana. So many of you that spoke tonight were also at the Plan Commission and the BZA meetings last Tuesday, and I think may have been at some of the other meetings regarding this project. So last Tuesday night, there was 2 meetings. The Plan Commission was first, and then the BZA. So in Indiana, like municipal plan commissions, their kind of purpose is to make recommendations. They don't make any formal decisions. They make a recommendation to this council, who will then vote on this ordinance that was presented. The Plan Commission, what they were reviewing was the zoning change, and they made a favorable recommendation to the city council here tonight. The BZA later that last week also heard variance requests. Those are not before the city council. The BZA makes the final decision on variance requests. So before the council tonight is the zone change, and there's 2 readings of an ordinance before it can be passed by the city council. So this is the first reading tonight. There is no vote tonight. The actual vote will be in January at the first regular council meeting in January. The clerk treasurer did submit, transmitted to the city council on Friday, December 12th, the entire Plan Commission record. That included all the comments and things that many of you had provided as a part of that record. So the city council did have all of those documents as of December 12th, 2025. And additionally, the documents provided by the commenters tonight will be adopted as a part of that record as well. And so I'll turn that back over if any of the council members have.
Questions regarding Mr. Otis's comments? Mr. Cook, please come forward. State your name for the record.
Good evening, Council. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. We've got a long meeting tonight. I will be brief. In fact, many of you covered comments that I touched on at the Plan Commission meeting, and I'll echo some of those here tonight as well. I know you're familiar with the project. You've already heard, 2 of you have already heard the full presentation that occurred at Plan Commission last week. Just a couple points from my perspective that I think are important as we consider this. So 2 major housing studies have been conducted in the last couple years, the HFL housing study and the LaPorte County Housing and Action agenda that Beth Schrader reviewed with us this evening. Both highlight the desperate need for new housing. The Lennar project at Briarleaf Golf Course fits this need perfectly. I've submitted both those studies to Ms. Barthune and asked her to make those part of the record as well. There's, point number 2, there's absolutely no incentive on this project whatsoever. Lennar understands the supply challenges we face, and they're eager to invest in our market. They're paying their own way in its entirety. Point 3, Dr. Sandra Wood and the LaPorte Community School Corporation submitted a support letter referencing the need for new student enrollment and housing growth. The LaPorte Community School Corporation is well positioned to accept new students gained through this development. I'd like to submit this letter as well for the record and ask council members to read it in its entirety at their convenience. My final point is, you know, everyone, we talk about this often, but everyone is a fan of property rights until it's your neighbor's property. I appreciate all of the conversations that have occurred with neighbors in Tiffany Woods, Briarleaf Villas, and Sharmar Hills. Although we do not always agree upon everything, their feedback has resulted in a better design than would have occurred otherwise. I also appreciate the team at Lennar and their willingness to adjust their site plan based on that feedback. I strongly urge you to act on the Plan Commission's recommendation for this zoning change. I appreciate the council's time and effort in reviewing this project and fully understanding its impact. If I can provide additional information, please don't hesitate to ask, but now I'll turn things over to Bill Nelson.
Mr. Nelson, come forward. State your name for the address, or for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Bill Nelson. I am born and raised in LaPorte. Currently live just north of LaPorte off of Schultz Road. I am a member of the law firm of Brady, Nelson and Janes in Michigan City, where I've been practicing for almost 34 years. And I am here as legal counsel to the applicant, Lennar Homes of Indiana, LLC. The property owner, the seller in this situation, is Recreational Properties US, LLC. It sounds formal. It's 3 guys locally that own that have run that golf course and are the owners of that selling LLC. And they've been here amongst us for decades. Many of us probably know them personally. I'm happy to say that even though I know that there was not a Q&A during public comment, I think myself and the Lennar team will be able to address some of those public comments as well. I think that Mr. Frankie has probably already addressed a little bit Mr. Kuntz's comments that were respectfully presented tonight and very eloquently presented with regards to people's desire to keep this a green space. I will address that as well a little bit, in that this is what's important to know. The city, as Mr. Frankie said, does not own this property. My client, Lennar, does not own this property. My client, Lennar, is what's called a contingent contract buyer. That means they are currently under contract to potentially buy it, and that closing, to close the transaction, is contingent upon various issues, some of which are these developmental approvals that they are seeking because they are important for the buyer to move forward. In the event the city council were to reject the request for rezoning, my client may very well choose to not move forward, at which time Recreational Properties US LLC will still own this property, and they have made abundantly clear it is not opening again as a golf course under any circumstances. I can guarantee you that from my conversations with at least one of those gentlemen, they are not planning to keep this property. They will not be able to keep it as green space. If someone wants to, down the road, if this is rejected and someone wanted to purchase it for green space, that would be up to that buyer. So I just wanted to address that from listen, we all love green space. We all love green space. It's fantastic to have. I'm glad to see Lennar is including green space parks in this development. I think the numbers were about 40% is green space of the development. But the thing is, we can't make Recreational Properties US LLC, we can't force them and tell them what to do with their property. That said, I'm going to shorten this meeting as well, and those of you who were here last week can rest assured that Nelson is not going to talk for an hour. All of the documents that I'm going to reference tonight, including only 3 tonight that will be displayed, I've already submitted in advance to Mr. Otis and would ask that they be made of record. I've got Lennar team with me tonight. Todd Clevin, VP of Land, is here. He is with Andre Hadami and Luke Fricke, who are part of the Lennar team. Also here tonight, Madeline Larman. She is the project engineer with Mackey Consultants LLC, independent of Lennar, but who Lennar works with frequently. I can promise you that Mr. Hill's comments and his legitimate concerns about making sure IDEM permits are sought, making sure U.S. Army Corps of Engineering signs off on anything that they may have to sign off about. That's why I don't know that stuff, but we have an engineer who does. Making sure that protection of wetlands adjacent to Briarleaf with the habitat that was described and the vegetation that was described, making sure that is protected. I'm pretty confident that between Mr. Clevin, when he speaks, and Ms. Larman, they will be able to address Mr. Hill's concerns. I cannot address Mr. Skiat's concerns. It sounds like he's planning on being here to make sure that the city council does some great things up in the new northern part of the city. So I can't address his, but I can also address the concerns representative of the folks who live out in Briarleaf and have the beautiful backyard. With regards to some of these other issues, I know the city leadership team is here, so with regards to whether the council has questions tonight about water, whether it be water supply, water retention, water drainage, how those things will be managed, the teams, the department heads are here. Ms. Larman can share with you, as can they, that the engineers for Lennar and our department heads have already started these processes. This has not happened in a vacuum. This is not well, let's see what happens. Long before we all even heard about this project, the conversations were happening to determine if it was even possible. All of those things have started, and I think Ms. Larman can even talk about all of her efforts already with NDOT for traffic control, with IDEM for water and environmental issues. All of that has started, and there is a long ways to go before anything could ever be built. I want to give a very brief history of the property. We all know we call it Briarleaf. Many of us have played golf there. It's been about 116 acres. It's been a golf course, my best research told me, since 1973. It's been a mainstay of one of the 3 golf courses in our community here, and we've all enjoyed it. Unfortunately, golf took off at some point a few decades ago. Many more people entered the game, and as a result, developers started realizing an opportunity to capitalize, and more golf courses got built. Unfortunately, over time, they realized that there was too much competition, and many of them could not sustain. As a result of that, there has been a decline in golf, and unfortunately, that has impacted Briarleaf. I made this statement last week, and I'll make it again. For more than a decade, Briarleaf has suffered unsustainable financial loss, and the only reason it stayed open as long as it had is because it had owners who were willing to invest their own personal funds to subsidize those losses. As time changes, as health issues arise, as priorities arise in families and in ownership, things change to where you cannot continue and sustain a business model that has a failed revenue loss on a yearly basis. As a result of that, the decision was made by the owners earlier this year, and I am authorized to say this by them, that Briarleaf is closed permanently and will never open again as a golf course. It's almost hard for me to say that because I'm going to miss it as well. But things change. Things change. I'm going to show you a screen to show you that Briarleaf is not unique to golf course demise. I showed this last week as well. My office did a little research on golf courses in northwest Indiana. I'll keep talking while you find that. We analyzed 10 counties in the northwest Indiana region to find out how many golf courses there were. There were about 69 of them in this 10 county region that I call northwest Indiana. Since 2018, 9 of them have closed. 7 of them have closed since 2020. So of the 9, 7 have closed in the last 5 years. 13% of golf courses in northwest Indiana have closed in the last 7 years. 10% in the last 5 years. This is not something unique to Briarleaf, nor is it indicative of failure to manage well. It is a decline in the golf course industry as a whole, and it is affecting LaPorte as well. If you see this list up here, it shows you the county they're in, shows you the city that they have for their mailing address, it shows you the year they closed, and if you see the far right line that shows the status now, all of them are vacant. Every single one of them is abandoned, unkept, non-maintained, and overgrown. Now, someone might call that green space, and they might say that we would prefer that. I would venture to say that if you're looking out your back window and what used to be a beautiful golf course becomes an overgrown, non-kept view, that actually might have a more negative impact on you than what you realize. And I think that we're going to hear more about that tonight from someone who knows way more about real estate than I do. The concern would be, if you look at this, that if we don't act, that Briarleaf could become number 10 on that list. I don't say that out of anything other than the data suggests that that would be its future. So without that alternative plan, do we become number 10? I'm happy to say that as I stand here tonight on behalf of Lennar, that Lennar offers a plan to reinvent that property into a vibrant, viable residential community of single-family homes that will keep the property off that list, while at the same time helping fill the already identified gaps in LaPorte's housing needs, which we were reminded of tonight by Beth. I want to highlight just a few key points from the housing study that Beth presented with the update tonight, as well as the Health Foundation's study. These are just a few key points that they identified and some of their, as the problems in LaPorte housing. 79% of the houses in LaPorte were constructed prior to 1980. 79%. LaPorte housing costs have become inflated in recent years, largely due to underproduction of new housing. And the factors that lead to that? Few large-scale development sites readily available within the city limits. We have 116 acres now. Few single-family home builders are constructing on a speculative basis. Understandable. You got to front that money. Ms. Ficus probably knows that better than anybody with a family that's in the industry. Other highlights from those two housing studies: more affluent households are occupying housing that would be affordable to lower income levels, which applies downward pressure on the housing market. And older homeowners are staying in their homes longer because there are few options for downsizing, further applying downward pressure on the housing market. I think that's referred to in the housing world as a housing ladder. Similar to a corporate ladder, you start at that entry level and you work hard to fight your way up. The difference in the housing market is, no matter how hard you might work, you may not be able to fight your way up. Because if somebody is occupying all the homes in the next price range you can afford, you're going to be stuck on that entry-level rung. And I think what our housing studies have identified is, while we need affordable housing, quite frankly, there is a lot of affordable housing. It's being occupied by people who haven't been able to climb up to the next rung on the ladder yet. I think the Lennar project targets very well that price point range of that mid-level house that will allow people who have been looking for that type of home the opportunity to move, freeing up that downward pressure on those more affordable homes. Finally, the last point I want to point out from the housing studies, that there is a constrained supply of single-family homes for those moderate income homes, and people having to compete for those because there's a limited supply. This is what our housing studies have told us. This is what we have asked experts in the housing industry to tell us about. I'm a lawyer. I don't know anything about that. I would like to think that when it comes to legal stuff, you might listen to me. But when it comes to what's needed in the housing, listen to the experts who provided you that guidance already in your studies. So our request tonight, before I introduce Todd Clevin from Lennar, our request tonight is that the City Council adopt the rezoning ordinance as recommended in a unanimous decision, 6-0 by the Plan Commission, from R1B to R1D. That's our request that we're making tonight, which we understand will be acted upon in January. At this point, I would like to have Todd Clevin come and talk more about the project itself, and so that you can ask any questions about the details.
Todd, welcome. State your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor and fellow council members. For the record, my name is Todd Clevin, K-L-E, V as in Victor, E-N. I am the Vice President of Land for Lennar Homes. Our offices reside at 1700 East Gulf Road, Suite 11, Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm a born and raised resident of Crown Point, Indiana, and behalf of Lennar, with me tonight is Andre, our land acquisition manager. He's the one that secured this deal with the current property owners. And our entitlements manager, Luke Fricky, also born and raised in Lake County, Indiana. I only share that information with you to first and foremost express the importance that we see to keep the work and everything local. So we do plan on using local contractors as much as we possibly can on this project. We'll give everybody an opportunity to bid the work that will come to fruition on Briarleaf. A little background about Lennar. We are a nationwide home builder, publicly traded builder. Last year we did just over 84,000 homes nationwide. We're run out of 40 divisions. Again, we are out of the Schaumburg, Illinois division. However, my team that's with us this evening focuses mainly on Northwest Indiana. I myself am on my 31st year of developing land and building homes, joining Lennar a little over 5 years ago. I like outer markets such as LaPorte. I am no stranger to them. I was one of the first developers to go to Cedar Lake and also one of the first ones to go to Lowell, Indiana. With that being said, this community itself, when we were in front of you, everybody in the audience or other people online were asking why we can't come in and build $600,000 homes. The homes that we are proposing will start at $350,000. There's 296 of these homes, and they'll top out around $450,000. There's two products that we're planning on building, what we call our core product and our horizon product. In order to afford those homes, that household income must surpass $125,000 a year in today's interest rates. That kind of gives you an idea. Is this affordable? We call it obtainable and affordable, but look at what it requires in order to achieve this price point. If we were to come in and build $600,000 homes, this could easily be a 25-year project. And you see some of those projects throughout the Tri-County area. So we are excited to provide you the housing that LaPorte has been asking for. We've been watching your studies, we've been watching your council meetings, and we're willing to come here and invest our time and money into your city and work together. We're very proud of that. I like to just keep this short and sweet. I know you have a long agenda ahead of you, so if there's any questions that you may have, I'm here to answer them. The one topic that I know keeps surfacing is the wetlands and the IDEM permits associated with the project. The property consists of 4 wetlands, 2 major ones, one at the southwest corner and one at the northeast corner. Those are the ones that are in conversation over and over again behind the podium. We have no plans to impact those wetlands whatsoever, other than a road crossing at the very southern tip of that wetland. We do have Madeline, our engineer here, that can speak to it in more detail, but again, there's a large wetland to the northeast corner that projects out of our property and goes behind some of the subject homes of the individuals that were here this evening. We have no plans on impacting them. The concept plan that has been presented to the city does not impact those 2 wetlands. There's 2 other small isolated wetlands. Basically, what an isolated wetland means is that it's not tributary. It's not tributary to some other type of a water source. So it's basically just a depressional area in the property itself. If you were to go out and put a shovel in the ground in your front yard and let it sit there for many years, it will eventually grow cattails. It will eventually have hydration that will classify it as a Class 1 wetland. We do have those, and we do plan on impacting those too. Does that mean that we're going to come in and plow through them, destroy them, and forget about them? Absolutely not. We will follow the rules and regulations through the IDEM and the Army Corps and make sure that we mitigate, whether we mitigate them on site or we go to the land bank and we purchase them from an existing land bank of wetlands that are there just for developers such as ourselves to purchase from. But we do plan on impacting those 2. And those 2 wetlands, Madeline, are how large in size? Less than an acre? I'm sorry. I'm going to bring Madeline up from our engineering consulting firm that will speak to the size of the wetlands that will be impacted.
Madeline Larman, I'm with Mackey Consultants at 9575 West Higgins Road in Rosemont, Illinois. Civil engineer, as mentioned. Yeah, the wetlands, the small degraded wetlands that will be impacted as a part of this project do not total more than an acre. I think it's less than an acre of impact total.
So without getting into too much, thank you, Madeline, without getting into too much detail, wetlands are typically classified from a Class 1 up to a Class 4. What does that basically mean? If you impact a Class 1, you have to mitigate it or create it elsewhere at a 1-to-1 ratio. If we were to go in and impact those heavily, I don't know what you call them, high wetlands, there'd be like a 4-to-1 ratio. So if we impacted 1 acre, we're going to have to create 4 acres elsewhere. That's not the reason why we're not impacting them. We do like to preserve. I think if you were to study some of Lennar, specifically Schaumburg, Lennar communities, we try to preserve as much as we can. And same with the trees out there. We went out and we performed a tree analysis, and we're going to save as many of those trees as we can. I understand it's a sad movie to watch. Nobody wants to look out their back door and see 18 holes of golf go away. Again, I want to stress the fact we did not knock on the doors of these sellers or these property owners and encourage them to sell and close their golf course. When Andre brought it to me and told me that the golf course is not going to open regardless, I said, let's go ahead and make an offer on the property. We did not encourage them not to open. It was our understanding that they were not going to open regardless. Again, thank you for your time. Happy holidays to you, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
I think there was some questions maybe from the crowd and then online about traffic and working with NDOT. If you could just briefly explain that.
Absolutely. So we have engaged our traffic engineer. Every project that we do, I think we have over 50 active communities right now. Every project that we do, we engage the same traffic consultant, and he will produce a report that we will present to you during the engineering submittal. So right now, we're here to speak about the rezone and the rezone only, but we will not neglect that, and we will study that traffic. I will ask the council to keep in mind, I'm sure many in this room are more familiar with the operations of Briarleaf Golf Course more than I am, but if you think about that golf course possibly having an outing, and they stack them 8 on each hole, you can do the math. I think I came up with 244 cars leaving that site at one time, or possibly within the same 15-minute window. Will we produce more cars? Absolutely. We're going to have 296 homes, two cars per home, possibly 3, or the average of 2.5, there will be traffic increase, but I believe, in my experience, that the current situation will handle that traffic. But if for some reason that report comes back that it needs a DXL acceleration lane or might need wider radiuses at the current entrances, we will design to those requirements. We're not going to neglect that study. And that study is for you to enforce upon us. Whether your ordinance requires a study or not, we will still produce that and share that with you.
During this process, if residents have questions or concerns, how do they reach out to you guys?
I will go ahead and leave some business cards here. And I will go ahead and share for the record my contact information. Again, my name is Todd Clevin. I'm the Vice President of Land, and my phone number is 219-257-2603. That's my mobile phone, 219-257-2603. I would rather and prefer you to contact me via email, and that is todd.clevin, TODD.KLE, V as in Victor, EN, at lennar.com, and Lennar is spelled Lennar. And if you'd like, I'd go ahead and leave some business cards up here as well.
Thanks.
Would you like me to pass them out if I may? I'll
Why don't
approach
you give them to the clerk treasurer? Yep.
Other comments for Todd? Mr. Nelson? Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
You heard Mr. Clevin identify two different types of homes, the Horizon Home line and the Core line, Core 30 line. There's multiple different designs, square footage, layouts, styles of homes. All of you, I know, have reviewed the application packet. There are pictures showing multiple different styles of homes in your packet. I'm not going to take the time to show them tonight, but they're available for you to look at there. Also in your packet is a site plan. I didn't show it again tonight, even though we showed it last week. You can see the site plan that is in your packet. I do want to say regarding the comment that the homes that were shown in the video last week does not look like what they saw. What I did say last week was in the video, you're going to see some homes that will be in the Lennar, in the Briarleaf development, but you'll also see some homes that are not. That we were using that as a demonstrative view of what a Lennar project looks like. Some of the homes that were in that video, though, very clearly are part of this project as well. So, let's talk about this a little bit, and it also addresses a public comment about alternative uses. And when I said what those alternative uses were, I promise there was no intent to insult then, nor is there intent to insult tonight. But it's important we recognize that the currently permitted uses, the comment tonight was you would never allow those. You would never, like slaughterhouse and the various things, you would never allow those. Here's the point I made last week, and here's the point I made again. They don't have to ask for your permission. Okay? So that may have been misunderstood. They don't have to ask for your permission under the current use to put in there a slaughterhouse, or to put in there a confined animal feeding operation, or to have livestock, including cattle, pigs, goats, chickens, etc., government buildings, transmission lines for gas, oil, and electricity, or manufactured housing. They don't have to ask for your permission. So I was not intending to insult, and I was not intending to to convey a message that for those uses, that those developers would have to ask for permission, because they don't. They can do that right now. I was simply offering those not as a threat or an insult, but to identify that there are currently permitted uses that might radically alter the residential nature of that community. I would suggest that none of us would agree that anything would be more consistent with the residential nature of that community, as would a housing project like this. So that's an important thing to remember. And again, ma'am, please, I apologize if I misspoke or conveyed anything that was insulting to you. That was not my intent. I also want to talk about this. There is always concern about impact. I appreciate that. We all live in places where if something came in, we would have concerns. Those are legitimate concerns. We have to always analyze the impact. One of the things we did and I showed this last week, and I do think it's important to show you tonight. We analyzed a Lennar project, and it's the Iron Gate project that you heard about tonight that was visited, and I'm glad someone went to visit it. We analyzed that to try to get an idea, is there a way to determine how a Lennar project that is similar, not the same, clearly not the same, similar to what is being proposed here, is there a way to analyze what impact it might have had on property, and more specifically, property values? If you could show the Iron Gate image there, please. Let me tell you about Iron Gate. Iron Gate was, variances were approved over in Porter, Valpo area in August of '21. The Plan Commission approved their final plat in January of '22. The first homes were built in 2023, with a substantial number then constructed in '24. The Brigada Hills subdivision is contiguous to, just like here. You got some homes in Sharmar, you got some homes in Tiffany, contiguous to. They share a common property line. Brigada is contiguous to the east side of the Iron Gate subdivision. And we analyzed their property assessment data out of Porter County government offices of the homes surrounding Lennar's Iron Gate subdivision. If you look at the 21 is when the variances were approved. 22, the plat was finally approved, and you can see the property values of the contiguous properties to Iron Gate. Those that don't have a value, they weren't there yet. You can see that from 21 to 22, prior to the development, assessed property values increased from 735-ish up to 739, a smallish increase. From 22 to 23, prior to any Lennar homes being built, the average assessed value increased from 739 to 806 and change. And then in 23, Lennar homes started going in, okay? In 23 to 24, the property values on average increased from 806,000 to 883,000. And in 2024, when a lot of homes got built in the Iron Gate Lennar subdivision, the average home price jumped dramatically from $883,000 to $1,068,000. If you pull up the next slide for me, please. Roscoe, if you could pull up the next slide for me. There's the percentages. From 22 to 23, before the project started, there was a 6.24% increase in assessed property value. In 23, when the first Lennar homes got built, the assessed property values increased by 11.13%. Lennar homes start getting built in 2023. In 2024, the adjacent property owners saw an additional 9.56% increase. And after a significant build out in 2024, those homes contiguous jumped an incredible 21.04% from 24 to 25. The average annual increase of these neighboring home values was in the 6 to 11% range prior to the substantial build out of Lennar project. And the average percentage increase from 24 to 25, the average was over 21%. These properties, which directly neighbor the Iron Gate subdivision, saw that increase over that time span, even when the Lennar project was being built out, and in fact saw its greatest increase. This is not just theory. This is fact based upon actual data collected, and part of the packet I submitted tonight are the actual assessed value cards from the Porter County Government Office. I didn't just give you these numbers without the proof. The proof is in the file in front of Mr. Otis. These are actual raw data. Admittedly, many factors can contribute to increased home prices. Listen, without a Lennar project being built by any of us, all of our homes have increased. You just watch the market. We've got a realtor on the board. We've got a realtor in the audience tonight that can verify everything's gone up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that massive increase happened because of Lennar. I'm not going to say that. I can't say that. Many factors contribute to that. But here's what I can tell you with absolute 100% confidence. The development of that Lennar project in Iron Gate did nothing to decrease values. That's proven data. This is proof, however, that high-quality, professionally engineered residential development actually can have a positive impact, rather than the feared negative impact. At this point, I said to you earlier, listen to me on the law stuff, listen to the housing experts on the housing stuff. I'm no real estate expert. At this point, I'm going to ask Mike Libertor to come up and speak to some of these issues. Mike has 34 years of experience as a real estate professional in the LaPorte community, both in residential and commercial. And he's looked at this Lennar project, and he's compared it to his 34 years of experience, and he's got some insights he'd like to share with you.
Mike, welcome. State your name for the record.
All right, Mike Libertor, Waverly Road, LaPorte, Indiana, MTM Realty. First of all, let me acknowledge one of my peers right here. I consider one of the best professional realtors locally, also in LaPorte, Ms. Laura Konechny. I want to also, so that I do not forget to do this, again, remember to thank the Ficus family, Mark Hill, Jim Pressel, and some of the other builders who've spent a lot of time in this area trying to provide us a need that we have. The Ficus family may be the only one that comes even close in scale in town to what somebody who we're looking at like this is going to be able to do for us. I would also be remiss in not mentioning that out of those 34 years, in the last 12 years, my wife Joanne, in the last 5 years, Haley Hills has been my partner because of the sheer volume and the area that we've covered in real estate. So a little bit about myself real quick. As Mr. Nelson said, 34 years residential and commercial. I've closed properties in Elkhart, St. Joe, Porter Lake, Newton, Jasper, Stark, Pulaski, Marshall, and of course LaPorte County, with 90% of those closings in LaPorte County. So I am quite familiar and do research in all of the areas, but highly concentrated on LaPorte. I served as LaPorte County Association of Realtors President and humbly have been recognized by the Wall Street Journal as one of the top 1% of realtors in the United States on multiple occasions. So I bring to you some of these facts that we face right now. And so I'm going to start out by the LaPorte real estate market between 300 and 500,000. These are active statistics as of this afternoon. Currently, there's 37 properties on the market in that price range. 7 of those are new construction townhomes and duplexes, but they are 2 or 3 unit combined, not single-family dwellings. 3 of those are also active condos. 13 of those properties are under contract currently. So that leaves us 14 remaining single-family detached properties between 300 and 500,000 available in LaPorte. All but 2 of those are over 30 years old. The 2 that aren't are 29 and 28 years old, respectively. That makes a single detached home in LaPorte between the price of 300 and 500,000, a little over 50 years average in age. That's like having only me or Mr. Dermody as a choice. So there's got to be something better out there. So we want to look then at the ladder. Who's going to try to get a move up to there, and how can they? So we're going to look at the 180 to 300,000 range as of this afternoon. There was 47 homes in that price range, 16 currently under contract. Of the 31 remaining, 14 are over 100 years old. 7 of the 17 that are left, 12 of those are between 50 and 100 years old. There's only 1 that's less than 30 years old available in LaPorte right now, between $180,000 and $300,000. Those people can't move until they have the next level to go to, which doesn't open that up for the first-time home buyers. If we look at the upward range of this, so take $500 to $1 million, there are currently 15 available properties in LaPorte. 14 are single family, 1 is a condo. Ironically, the age is reversed in this, as 11 of those are under the age of 27 years old, almost 80%. So what does that tell us? When you're going at those that wish that we would get these larger lot, tie-end homes over a 500,000, that's where your youngest ones are, but that's a luxury now. That's not what the affordable housing or all of the, clickbait words that we're hearing right now for what we're trying to find. So if we look at recent home developments in our area, which means 30 years ago, we would see that we had the Crestview Rustic Hills, the Nowak Glendale, and to some extent the Woods of Concord being built and the Concord Vineyard, which affected Concord Valley and Concord Hills. For those of us who've been here around a long time, that's the last time we had development, back when those were going on, except for majorly what the Ficus family has done for us. So what we saw out of all of those is that when the new subdivision was built, it helped to bring up the values of the near properties, meaning Glendale, Rustic Hills, and Concord Valley, Concord Hills, and even the vineyard prices went up to an extent that they got about 500,000 in there when the Woods of Concord was developed. So in my own experience, because of the ages of what I'm talking about with these properties and the lack of that choice, I've ended up taking purchasers to Osceola, Granger, South Bend, Valparaiso, and Chesterton all within the last 5 years in order to purchase their house, because we just don't have anything that is new construction available in the sweet spot range of 300 to 500,000, which is what we're looking at an opportunity here. By no means can I guarantee, and anybody, Laura would attest to this, no realtor worth their salt would ever say to anybody, I can guarantee you the price of that house is going to go up, the value of that's going to go up, or if this happens, the value is going to go up. We would never promise that. Something that we may say with some sort of certainty is that if this was to happen, it could have a negative effect on your value. And so if we were to see the property go, some people call it go to seed, some people call it green space, some people call it overgrown, whatever you want to call it. We have seen, and we have a perfect example that's nearest Chesterton, that in the last 4 years, the people that live near the Brassy in their homes, which are all basically between 8 and 25 years old, are wishing that a development would have gone in there now that it's overgrown, because they see some rodent problems. They're seeing some issues with pricing going down as well in their homes, which this is a very unusual time to see prices going down in a newer home development. Let's see. I know you have a long meeting. I could relay all kinds of statistics to you. As Laura knows, I am definitely a numbers person and keep the numbers very well handy at all times when it comes to real estate, especially in the LaPorte area. And so I would like to say the 2 studies that have been done, studies are miraculous. They're awesome, especially when they validate what you've done for your career and you've been saying for all this time for your life is, we don't have enough new housing here. I've lived it. It's part of my career. I've had to take them to other towns, and we are looking at an opportunity to present this city with something that we haven't had. And so I would really like to submit all of those facts to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now the boring part, the legal stuff. Right, Nick, we're boring guys. Again, this is the request. The request is that ultimately, at your next meeting, that you approve a zoning change from R1B to R1D. To do so, there are 5 legal standards that we are required to meet. And I submit to you that the information in the Plan Commission transcript that has been submitted to all of you, along with everything that we have provided tonight, even tonight independently, supports all 5 of those. And here's the 5 legal standards. Number 1, description of how the zone map change is consistent with the comprehensive plan. We believe that the requested zoning change is consistent with the comprehensive plan and is compatible with the LaPorte County Land Development Plan strategic goals and objectives. That plan encourages expansion of residential uses near major highways and near cities where residents have easy access to public and private services. Although previously designated as a golf course, residential growth is a recognized and planned use for this area. The large size and location of the property lends itself well to easy conversion from a recreational use to housing, as the conversion requires no significant demolition of structures, as few structures exist. The site is largely surrounded by existing residential development, and additional housing will continue that land use pattern. Rezoning to R1D maintains a residential zoning status, which is also consistent with the comprehensive plan. In other words, we're not asking to go from residential to some sort of an industrial or light manufacturing type of use. Because it's consistent, it honors that residential community that already exists. The second legal standard, assurances that the requested zoning change will not have a negative impact on the current conditions and the character of the current structures in the area. The current conditions and the character of structures in the area is primarily residential, except for that pesky M1 zoning on the west side that's got a place that almost looks like a Chernobyl with all the tanks and everything. You know what I'm talking about. I suspect, however, that despite what's on the west side of 39, all of us here who know this community, have lived here, who have been out in that area would agree that this is a primarily residential area. These Lennar homes will be the newest homes in the area, introducing new code-compliant homes that will be professionally designed, architecturally consistent, owner-occupied, and professionally built by a nationally recognized home builder with a proven track record throughout the nation, and also already here in Northwest Indiana. And we posit that this will likely result in a positive impact on current conditions and structures. Incidentally, if you're not aware, Lennar is the second largest home builder in the nation, and in 24 alone, built over 80,000 houses across America. The third legal standard, a description of how the requested zoning change will result in the most desirable use for which the land in the district is adapted. We believe this property's extensive acreage and historic design as a sprawling golf course makes it uniquely suited for residential development, particularly when, as here, surrounding land uses are already residential. Given the economic failure of the golf course and the operations and recent decline in the golf course industry overall, coupled with the need for more housing as demonstrated in more than one LaPorte housing study, the proposed rezoning represents the most desirable, efficient, and productive use of the land. What has been presented this evening makes clear that this requested zoning change will result in the most desirable use for which this land is already set up, and that the planned residential development is consistent with that most desired use, which we would all agree is residential. Fourth legal standard, assurance that the requested zoning change will not negatively affect the property values throughout the city of LaPorte. That's the actual standard, but it's easy to look at it and say, yeah, but what about just the area there? The standard, though, is the city of LaPorte. But even looking in that residential area, you heard what the expert with 34 years of professional real estate experience offered you. Listen to him. I'm just kind of reminding you of what he said a few moments ago, that historically, that he has seen developments increase property value, yeah, he did say that it actually increased. Those homes near those subdivisions, No Walk, Woods of Concord, granted, there may not be in our city, but development is development. He saw increases in property values around there. He can't guarantee there'll be increases here, certainly, but he identified that he sure doesn't see a negative impact based upon, again, his 34 years' experience. As the current owner has made clear, Briarleaf Golf Course is permanently closed. As such, one of three things will likely occur with this property. One, it'll be developed as commercial use or some sort of agricultural use that's currently permitted under the current zoning, and that doesn't need any permission from anyone in the city. Commercial use might, depending upon what you consider commercial. If you consider libraries, transmission lines, oil lines, government buildings commercial, because it's not residential, then that might fall there. I don't stand here and say, though, that someone can put in, business commercial without seeking authority. I'm not saying that. Please hear me clearly. But considering what's on the other side of 39 West, given an opportunity, and someone had the money to file a petition in front of you, they could give it a try. The second thing that could happen there is residential use. The third thing, it lays abandoned, overgrown, and unsightly. I would posit that commercial or agricultural development, particularly livestock, would likely have a negative impact on the surrounding residential property values, especially those in the closest proximity, like a neighbor who presented tonight, her backyard view. I would also posit that based upon Mr. Liberatore's experience and input, that 116 acres of abandoned, non-maintained, open expanse of what used to be a golf course would likely negative impact property values, particularly, again, those in the closest proximity. It seems logical and evident, based on everything presented into the record this evening, this residential development of this property is the most consistent with the residential nature of the surrounding area and with new code-compliant, single-family homes with yards that kids can play in, homes constructed in a professionally developed community with sidewalks, green space parks, an HOA to help maintain high standards in the development long-term, that this proposed development will best maintain and quite likely improve property values. As demonstrated by the Iron Gate development, that actually proved to be true based upon data, not opinion, not speculation, not guesses. Can I guarantee, or anybody guarantee that happens here? No, but it's certainly some data that suggests that it very likely could. Final legal standard, and then I'm going to stop. Fifth one is a description of how the requested zoning change promotes responsible development and growth throughout the city. We believe that the rezoning promotes responsible growth and development by utilizing existing and previously planned for municipal infrastructure, preserving wetlands, adding significant new stormwater management capacity, and providing diverse housing options that meet modern needs as already established by existing housing studies that have identified housing gaps in the city of LaPorte. This is a far more sustainable development pattern and plan than to allow a large, obsolete recreational facility to remain vacant or succumb to already permitted uses under current zoning that could radically alter the nature of the surrounding residential community. Finally, we believe the requested zoning change promotes consistency with the comprehensive plan. We believe this rezoning will create and continue that compatible land use, maintain a residential feel in the neighborhood and the surrounding community. Having met all the standards for this rezoning request on behalf of Lennar Homes of Indiana LLC, and after your second reading, I would respectfully request the City Council to adopt an ordinance to rezone to R1D. And I would be pleased to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Nelson?
Mr. Nelson, are you done?
I am done, Mr. Galloway. If you've got some questions, I'll continue on. Otherwise, I'm going to go sit. Can I go sit down?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you all for being here regarding this. This is the first reading of this ordinance. The next one will be January 5th. But as Lennar has put out their email in the meantime, get all your questions answered, concerns. You are also available. I'm available. My cell is 219-363-7293. We do have some public comment. I won't go through all of it, but just to address a few, Jeff Plant said there were 2,500 homes for sale in LaPorte County. And I know, he usually comes up with these numbers, but Rhonda Van Voris, who is a quality individual, a quality realtor, had cleared up that there's only how many? Roughly?
Between 250 and 400 from what I could tell. Does that sound right?
For the county.
For the
For
county.
the county.
Entire county.
Not
Michigan City.
2,500.
No.
Right.
That's kind of funny, though, 2,500. Also with that, I just want to say property taxes, which was brought up in the city, our tax rate, since this administration has taken over, what is the tax rate?
It's been between 1.53 and 1.56.
So our taxes have not gone up.
No, stayed the same.
And just for another, with debt property tax-related debt in the city of LaPorte. We can't control the county, we can't control schools. How much debt have we taken on since 2020, since this administration has taken over?
Property tax debt, we refunded a GO bond and saved about $250,000.
Is the only debt that we've addressed. So we've not increased debt, we've only reduced it.
Correct.
And otherwise, TIF, where TIFs are used to generate infrastructure improvements, that is where we focus, so it doesn't affect all the taxpayers. We are responsible here, and I just want to thank the council members. Again, we could sit and do nothing, and that'd be popular. We see other, without naming any other organizations, governmental entities, doing nothing and saying no to everything would be a possibility. And you see what's happening in those areas. We've chosen, you have chosen to listen to your residents. We're available. We'll be back here Thursday evening for affordable housing with Advantix, which was a state low-income tax credit, to provide housing from there as well, because people say we need it. But thank you all. We'll be back here for January 5th regarding this housing. Any comments before we move on? I would tell all of our guests that are here and our individuals from Lennar, you're welcome to leave. You will not offend anybody. We have a lot more to attend to with the agenda. So we'll take a minute, allow everybody that would like to leave to go ahead and do so.
Can I use the restroom? Yeah. Oh, good, yeah.
Anybody need a restroom break? Use my office? Okay. Yeah.
I should have mentioned I've spent 47 years trying to block anything Herb does to be successful. Isn't that right, Tom?
I'll just put it over here.
Buchanan.
Can you turn on the air?
I make a motion to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Buchanan.
An ordinance approving the 2026 budget for the City of LaPorte Water Department. Budget total is $6,025,911.
Clerk Treasurer.
The same as what I stated at the last meeting, the water and wastewater department budgets are not approved by the DLGF. They're not tax-based funds. We're just doing this for transparency's sake for the public. And also, these are budgets. Budgets are estimates.
Discussion.
Motion to approve because I
Second.
love transparency.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman Konechny.
Your Honor, I'd like to read an ordinance for the second time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Konechny.
An ordinance approving 2026 budget for the City of LaPorte wastewater stormwater department. End of title. The sewage operating budget for 2026 proposed is $6,882,180. And that of stormwater proposed budget for 2026 is in the total of $873,152.
Clerk Treasurer.
Same comment as the last agenda item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Introduction of an ordinance, Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the first time.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 16-2025, fixing salaries of appointed officers and employees of the City of LaPorte, Indiana for the year 2026. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, Section 1, that from and after the first day of January 2026, the salary and pay schedule for appointed officers and employees of the City of LaPorte, Indiana be fixed as follows. Salary schedule as presented by Common Council Finance Committee, October 20th, 2025, to the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana. The Common Council Finance Committee of the City of LaPorte, Indiana hereby fixes the salaries and pay schedule for appointed officers and employees of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, beginning January 1st, 2026. The various divisions of the city shall consist of the following created positions, except as otherwise authorized. Employees herein may receive compensation as set forth or within the respective ranges of amounts set herein. Wage and salary ranges do not specify starting wages or salary. The starting wage or salary is dependent on qualifications. Housing and Building Code Enforcement, part-time building inspector, $20 an hour. Civic Auditorium non-reverting, Civic and Events Director, $80,000 annually. Motor Vehicle Highway Supervisor, $65,000 annually. Assistant Superintendent, Street Sweeping split with Stormwater, hourly $27.85, annually $57,928. Administrative Assistant, split with Civic and Transport, annual salary of $15,080. Crack Seal Team, special pay, $2.50 an hour. Tree Crew Leader, special pay, $5.05 an hour. Department of Transportation, Administrative Assistant, split with MVH and Civic, annual salary of $15,080. Section 6, employees may be assigned to work across departments. They will be paid from the budget of the department utilizing their services at their current pay rate and job title. For example, street department needs snow removal assistance. A park employee has availability. For the hours worked during snow removal, the park employee will be paid their current park rate from the street department budget for hours worked on snow removal. Section 8, fitness reimbursement payment. To be eligible for the reimbursement, employees and dependents must be a member of the City of LaPorte Health Insurance Plan. Reimbursement is for gym fitness memberships only. The city employee and each dependent on the health insurance plan may be eligible for up to $500 per year for the fitness reimbursement benefit. See fitness reimbursement request form for eligibility guidelines. Section 9, Police Department Captain's Award Pay. 8 awards for $50 each one award for $100 each paid out of the police department budget. Section 10, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval by the mayor. End of ordinance.
Oh, you read that quick.
So this is an introduction of an ordinance. Clerk Treasurer.
We're just cleaning up some changes that have happened since budgets passed and the salary ordinance went through recently. And I suspect that there will be a few more changes in the next year, just for efficiency's sake.
Would it be beneficial if we made a motion to suspend the rules and pass it tonight since it says January 1st?
But I don't think you can for money.
For salaries.
For salaries, I don't think you can.
I was thinking the same, but in the meantime, I would like to say it's nice to see number 8, the fitness reimbursement payment. I thought-
Especially if used at the YMCA.
Especially, but regardless, really a great
We
new
do
provision.
that anyway. It's just that we want to get it on our employees' W-2s instead of 1099ing them and paying for those services.
Shall we carry on and come back to it?
So, hearing none, this will move till January 5th unless we hear otherwise from Mr. Otis. Let's now move to introduction of a resolution with Councilwoman Huffman.
Thank you. I would like to introduce a resolution read in its entirety for the first and only time.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Huffman.
Thank you. Resolution to transfer funds within the 2025 budget. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2025 budget in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2025. General Clerk Treasurer 1101-041, from 311 Other Services to 111 Salaries, $100. From 311 Other Services to 321 Communication Transportation, $150. From 311 Other Services to 391 Other Services, $472. Mayor 1101-044, from 211 Office Supplies to 361 Repairs and Maintenance, $246. From 315 Professional Services to 361 Repairs and Maintenance, $245. City Council 1101-069, from 121 INPRS to 391 Other Services, $15,000. From 122 FICA Medicare to 391 Other Services, $15,000. Board of Works 1101-077, from 351 Utilities to 321 Local Match Transport, $30,000. From 351 Utilities to 1101-362-111 Fire Salaries, $6,000. City Hall 1101-164, from 315 Professional Services to 361 Repairs and Maintenance, $1,485. From 351 Utilities to 361 Repairs and Maintenance, $385. Code Enforcement 1101-318, from 315 Professional Services to 361 Repairs and Maintenance, $800. Fire 1101-362, from 211 Office Supplies to 221 Operating Supplies, $3,800. From 315 Professional Services to 221 Operating Supplies, $4,000. From 321 Communication Transportation to 221 Operating Supplies, $4,200. From 361 Repairs and Maintenance to 231 Repairs and Maintenance, $496.97. From 315 Professional Services to 231 Repairs and Maintenance, $450. From 315 Professional Services to 241 Other Supplies, $450. From 315, professional services, to 391, other services, $450. From 315, professional services, to 351, utilities, $212.15. Police, 1101-370, from 391, other services, to 315, professional services, $2,200. From 351, utilities, to 315, professional services, $2,000. From 221, operating supplies, to 315, professional services, $1,000. From 361, repairs and maintenance, to 315, professional services, $3,100. From 111, salaries, to 241, other supplies, $3,000. From 111, salaries, to 221, operating supplies, $14,000. Local roads and streets, 2202-524, from 290, repairs and maintenance, to 231, general operating supplies, $350. From 361, repairs and maintenance, to 391, other services, $4,500. Park, 2204-803, from 221, operating supplies, to 315, professional services, $500. From 221, operating supplies, to 331, printing and advertising, $350. From 361, operating supplies, to 241, other supplies, $1,500. Seat 2209-465, from 2209-465-375, Beechwood Lakes, to 2209-077-361, Asset Management Pilot Program, $15,000. CEDIC Community Development and Planning, 2209-103, from 211, office supplies, to 361, repairs and maintenance, $900. From 321, communication transportation, to 361, repairs maintenance, $1,000. From 321, communication and transportation, to 391, other services, $500. Park non-reverting, 2211-803, from 391.001, sales tax, to 351, utilities, $500. Public safety lit, 2240-069, from 131, fire clothing allowance, to 111, fire salaries, $21,547.90. From 381, debt service fire truck / tower, to 111, fire salaries, $10,500. Restricted fund, 2300-074, from 993, historic preservation, to 885, HPC coloring book sponsorships, $100. Recreation non-reverting, 5503-803, from 111, salaries, to 391, other services, $5,000. Civic non-reverting, 5504-803, from 111, salaries, to 391, other services, $7,500. From 391.002, event costs, to 391, other services, $600. From 241, other supplies, to 391, other services, $500. From 391.003, liquor expenses, to 391, other services, $3,800. From 391.004, concessional expenses, to 391, other services, $2,200. From 331, printing and advertising, to 391.001, deposit refunds, $1,205. From 231, repairs and maintenance, to 122, FICA and Medicare, $850. From 391.002, event costs, to 321, communication and transportation, $1,370. From 315, event staff, to 351, utilities, $1,600. From 391.002, event costs, to 391.005, LaPorte Invitational, $3,000. End of resolution.
Clerk Treasurer Parthun, normal part of the end of year.
End of year. Sorry about that one.
That's okay.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Galloway.
Mayor, could we jump back to
Oh,
the-
please.
So I pulled up our, through Muni Code, you can go to the City of LaPorte and look at our ordinances. Section 2-66 states, "All ordinances shall be read twice before being passed, and no ordinance shall pass on the same day in which it is introduced unless the requirements of Indiana Code 36-4-6-13 are met." Go to that code section. A two-thirds vote of all elected members, after unanimous consent of the members present to consider the ordinance, is required to pass an ordinance of the legislative body on the same day or at the same meeting in which it is introduced. Subsection A does not apply to a zoning ordinance or amendment to a zoning ordinance. So you can pass it tonight. That was a long way of saying that. And actually, zoning is the only thing that you can't suspend the rules for. So the other ordinance you had on the agenda tonight could not have been suspended. And I think that was actually a question somebody asked online tonight.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules regarding the first reading of ordinance to amend the ordinance.
Second reading,
Oh, yeah.
Councilman Frankie. Yep.
Okay, sorry. So
Suspend the rules
for the second reading of ordinance amending ordinance number 16-2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
That was to suspend.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to suspend the rules has passed.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance amending number 16-2025.
Should I read it by title for the second time?
Yes, title only.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Well, second, sorry.
Opposed? Councilwoman, or
I'll do it. I mean, since I read it the
Councilwoman
first time,
Ficus.
I know. I move to read an ordinance for the second time by title only.
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 16-2025, fixing salaries of appointed officers and employees of the city of LaPorte, Indiana for the year 2026.
Comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance passes. Councilman Galloway, introduction of a resolution.
Brenner, I'd like to introduce a resolution and read it for its only time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Galloway.
Resolution to encumber funds from the 2025 budget. Whereas the clerk treasurer has identified the following amounts of 2025 appropriations be encumbered in order to meet obligations for payment which have been incurred but will not have been paid at the close of business on December 31, 2025. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following encumbrances be made within the following budgets for the year 2025. General Board of Works, 1101-077-321. City of LaPorte Transit, local match, $33,700. City Hall, 1101-164-361. DA Dodd installed 2 new cabinet heaters, $7,600. Engineering, 1101-306-312. Avenue Incorporated, on-call professional service, $24,800. Fire Department, 1101-362-221, W.S. Darley and Company, $10,581.60. 1101-362-231, Zorro, $8,623.96. Police Department, 1101-370-221, Exxon Enterprise Incorporated, $15,998.20. 1101-370-241, Star Uniform, $4,020. 1101-370-315, Department Wear Incorporated, $4,000. General total, $109,323.76. Local road and streets, winter operation salt, 2202-524-231.012, Cargill contract through state of salt. $3,607.29. Local roads and streets total, $3,607.29. MVH restricted, 2203-524-415, Craftco Incorporated, Sherwin Industries Incorporated, $71,800. 2203-524-451, NDOT LPA Park Street intersection, $264,941. MVH restricted total, $336,741. Seated Assist Management Pilot Program, 2209-077-361, MP Lawn Care LLC, Shoreline Clearing, Lily Lake, $2,928. 2209-077-361, Short Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated, SCH Shoreline Design, Lily Lake, $9,800. Seated Planner, 2209-103-315, City of LaPorte Feasibility Comprehensive Plan, $30,000. Seated Consulting, 2209-465-313, Baker Tilly Internal Controls Contract from 2021, $15,000. Seated total, $57,728. ARP Coronavirus Local, FRF, Bella Largo Infrastructure, 2401-000-421.000, Arnco Properties, per infrastructure reimbursement agreement, $134,150.62. ARP Coronavirus Local, FRF total, $134,150.62. Redevelopment TIF 1, 4445-701-315, VS Engineering, Horlocker Drive Historic Bridge Project, $9,900. 445-701-315, Hitchcock Design Incorporated, Downtown Decorated Valleys, $9,195. 4445-701-315, SCH Incorporated, Clear Lake Parking and Trail Projects, $112,000. Development TIF 1 total, $131,095. Redevelopment TIF 2, 4446-701-315, United Consulting, North-South Corridor Design Services, $50,000. 4446-701-315, Rundle, Ernstberger Associates, City of LaPorte Comprehensive and Transportation Plan, $30,000. Redevelopment TIF 2 total, $80,000.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway. This is a resolution, can pass. Clerk Treasurer?
Encumbrances just allow us to pay 2025, we don't have to mess with the 2026 budget, is the easiest way to put it. So if we get any of these invoices for any of these expenses in before the end of the year, we will be asking Board of Works tomorrow to get those paid in 2025, then we wouldn't have to encumber them. If we don't get the invoices, then we'll be encumbering these with 2025 funds, and we'll be able to pay in 2026 out of 2025 funds.
Motion to approve. Discussion.
Unless Mr. Callis would like to hear it again.
Is that a second, sir?
I said second.
Oh, you did?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And by the way, I would also like to point out to Councilwoman Ficus, at the next Traffic Commission meeting, Stephanie Rogers would like to know if we can get back-to-back national championship Pop Warner signs for the football team.
Oh, okay, I'll bring that up.
Thank you.
Back to back.
Business Improvement District, council appointment, 2-year terms for 5 appointments. Is there a motion? We can table it?
Yeah.
Motion to table?
Motion to table, yes, to the 5th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion tables. Fire Merit Commission. Do I have a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
Before we table that, okay, motion to table, I'm sorry.
It was seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion tables. Can we table all of them together?
I don't want to table all.
Okay, then we will move to Fire Station Building Corp.
Motion to table.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to table. Laporte Alcoholic Beverage Review Commission.
I would like to nominate President Pro Tem Tim Frankie.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations and thank you, Mr. President Frankie.
It's a lot of work.
Redevelopment Commission appointment.
I'd like to recommend Chalik and J.T. McDermott.
Second.
Brian Chalik and J.T. McDermott. The
Yeah,
motion
they're-
and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Urban Enterprise Zone Board.
Motion to table.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion tables. Board of Zoning.
Yeah, if Brian Cager left, I thought we could ask him if he wanted to be still back on, but.
Motion.
Well, if he
Table.
leaves, that's the price he pays.
That we nominate him?
Yeah, for traffic, he wasn't
Do I have a motion to table?
Second.
Second.
Who tabled, or who?
I did.
Got it,
Frankie.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion tables. Other business?
I got something.
Yep.
President Frankie.
Can we get the stop sign on Kingsbury and Crescent, if you're going east towards Indiana, removed? I was behind a car today who didn't realize the other side didn't have a stop sign. Now that it's reopened, they were turning left, almost got clipped. I think it just needs to go.
Mr. Batchelor is taking care of that tomorrow, so that will be addressed, and the sign will be removed along with the 2 dividers that are out there as well. But there were a lot of concerns about your speed, so please slow down.
Usually too slow.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody. Thank you for your commitment and your patience as we try to make LaPorte a better place for all. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Merry Christmas.